Hey everybody, it's Jake Mace, the vegan athlete. And this guy over here pulled me out of my house this morning into my backyard, aka Longevity Gardens.
Nice. Greg Peterson from the Urban Farm.
Why did you pull me out of my place this morning?
We are going to talk about the components of planting a tree when you plant it. What do you put back in the hole? Because I get that question all the time from people.
You have a whole visual aid presentation out for the audience. So
Yeah.
what do you have here, Greg?
Well, before we go there, here's what I want to tell you. I've watched you over the past 4 years, and like 3 years ago.
Wait, that sounds creepy right there.
No.
Can you explain that a little bit?
I'm lurking, baby.
You've watched my gardening.
I've watched your garden kind of transform over the past 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
And one of the striking things that I've noticed in the past 6 months is how well everything is growing here. The whatever you're doing when you put stuff in the hole, it's absolutely amazing. These trees are just like, these are the best looking trees in Phoenix.
Thank you.
And so, over the past 6 months, I've been thinking, what does he do? And we need to tell people about that, because you do magic when you plant the trees.
It's like a David Blaine kind of thing where just poof, and it happens.
Nice.
People have been telling me recently, they say, Jake, we've seen you at some gardening workshops and online. You're never dirty. You're always so clean looking, but yet this whole garden just seems to happen magically on its own.
Yeah.
It's not magic.
Well, we clean up well.
It's me scrubbing with my loofah.
That's right.
All the dirt out of my pores. But thank you for the compliment. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
And a lot of the trees people can see behind me that are just starting to shut down for the winter time.
Right. Yeah, so we're fall time, so things are going dormant.
Exactly.
So what I wanted to find out today is, what do you put in the hole that makes the trees look so amazing? That's really what I want to know today.
I think that it's when you first plant the tree that's important. When you have the hole, you put the tree in the
absolutely.
ground. And then it's throughout the year, what do you do? And time.
And time. All right.
The one thing I don't teach that I should teach more often is time. And you said in the last 6 months you've seen this place change.
Just explode.
This is like year 4 and 5 of my gardening project using wood chips and such. And it's almost like this last year, everything started to really kick.
Right.
Almost like it needed 3 or 4 years to ferment and cook and become alive.
Absolutely, that's the
And
case.
now the hard work I put in years ago is starting to pay off with healthy fruit trees that are giving me food.
Yeah. So let's start over here at this end.
Okay.
I get this question all the time. People want to know, what do I put in the hole?
And that's why I made this shirt.
Nice.
Because this shirt says Mace's Mix, kind of a play off of Mel's Mix.
Nice.
This tells my tree mix when I put a tree in the ground
Yeah.
initially, when I first plant it.
Perfect.
Because a lot of gardeners out there, they kill a lot of trees on their way toward mastery.
Absolutely. And you don't have to do that.
You don't have to. I mean,
follow this.
hardships of life will make you a master. But if you copy my formula mix, you can kind of shortcut your way to the front of the line.
There you go.
Okay, so on my shirt is the amendments and the stuff that I put in the hole with the tree, but it's also here in front of us.
Yeah. So native soil. We start with native soil.
It is. When I dig a hole out of my ground here in the Phoenix area, this is what I get.
Yeah.
This is what's in the hole. So that's Mother Earth right there. And if I put a fruit tree in that, it tends to kind of become too compact for the roots.
Yep.
It doesn't allow the roots to drain properly. It doesn't allow the roots to hold moisture properly. It's good soil for native trees like ironwoods and mesquites and palo verdes and cactus.
Maybe.
Creosote, maybe.
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 Any tree is going to do better
Absolutely.
if you do this.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. They're going to live longer. They're going to thrive better, on and on and on.
So when I dig the hole, I always save this on the side and I build a berm out of it so that it's like a mounded donut around the tree so all the water and mulch stays by the root zone.
Perfect.
Okay? So then I save this on the side and I mix this back in. But to the native soil, I add this, which is what I call a bioavailable or a biodynamic, active, locally made, still living compost. Okay? If you guys go to a big box store and just buy any old cheap compost,
Yeah, good luck
it's
with
probably
that.
dead.
Yeah.
It's just dead dust in a bag.
Right.
You got to get something that's locally made so it's still alive and it's got all those microbes in it.
We have available called premium potting soil. It's my favorite thing to use. It's great for this use.
That's what I use.
Yeah. There you go.
So if you're in the Phoenix area and you want to get some of these amendments, you guys can go to my man Greg Peterson's pop-up tree nursery.
Yep.
Which they can find out about at urbanfruittrees.org.
Yep.
I got it. I've ordered fruit trees from you before.
Yes,
Many
you
of these
have.
trees are your fruit trees.
Yeah. Love it.
This is the bioavailable, biodynamic, active, locally made compost. Next to it is worm castings. And the reason why these two things are important, the compost and the worm castings, because these are the food for the tree. Okay, it's important to water your trees, but it's also important to give them food, just like a human.
Yeah.
And this is the food right here. The worm castings is like a wheatgrass shot.
Oh, nice.
Okay, the compost is like a salad. They're both nutrient dense and full of a lot of power and energy for your fruit trees.
Beautiful.
Next, we gotta have good drainage.
Yeah, gotta have that drainage.
When we put the water in the root zone when we're watering our tree, we don't want it to become a swampy, soupy mess.
Right.
And so I mix in a little bit of sand in the hole when I fill the tree back in.
Mm-hmm.
And this sand is best if you can find the lava sand.
Lava sand?
Which
Yeah.
is the red sand. And I put it on here. If you can find lava sand or lava rock, that's the best. But if you can't, regular old sand will do. This has no nutrients for the tree, so don't add too much,
Right.
but just enough to encourage drainage in your hole.
Yeah.
Okay? Next, we have this stuff right here.
Oh, I love this stuff.
This is like a chalk, and this chalk is over 70 different minerals, including trace elements, and it's a brand of product called Azomite.
Azomite, right here.
And you're gonna have this too at your pop-up tree nursery.
Yep, we're gonna have that at our pop-up tree nursery.
If people are local here.
Yeah.
Or they can get it, if they're not local, from jakemace.com.
Yep.
And this is just a 5-pound bag, so gardeners can, for a very low fee, can try it out and see if it works for them, and it will work, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Because this will remineralize
Yeah.
the mycelium and the bugs and the microbes in your soil, and then as they break it down, your trees will drink up all those mineralized nutrients.
Beautiful.
Okay, so this is really important, not only for trees, but for your raised bed gardens too.
Quite honestly, I think that 80% of your magic is right there.
You think so?
Yeah, because it's micronutrients for the trees. It makes the trees thrive, and then when it's putting off fruit, that fruit is much more nutrient dense.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So this is a really, really, really important piece of this mix.
You know, when you're going into war, you got to wear armor. And when you're going into life,
Yeah.
the minerals in your food is the armor.
The minerals in your fruit, that's a great way of putting it.
Let's make a shirt about that.
All right.
Okay. And next here we have this stuff, which looks kind of like sand,
Yep.
but it's not. It's a beneficial bacteria, which usually you'll hear it called mycorrhizae or mycorrhiza or mycelium.
Yeah.
And this is 7 different kinds that as you apply water is the catalyst that will start to activate this living organism. And this will bond to the roots of your tree and allow the beneficial bacteria and your tree roots to share information and nutrients back and forth. A lot of scientists actually think, who specialize in this mycelium, they actually think that the largest organism on the planet is mycelium.
Mycelium?
Because it can stretch across hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miles.
I've heard that.
It's the underground internet of plants.
Yeah.
Okay? And so this is important to add into the whole, only about this much with a new tree, because 3 tablespoons is enough to start that process.
Yeah.
And so this little bag right here, we have on jakemace.com, but you also have it at your
We'll have it available at the pop-up nursery.
pop-up nursery. It's only $7,
Yeah.
but this will do 5 or 6 trees.
Yeah.
So $1 a tree. The Azomite, you can do 5 trees with this size bag. So it's a really cheap way to get $1 or $2 per tree, but to really supercharge
this
the
bag.
growth in the long run.
Absolutely.
After we're done planting our tree, on top of the soil, I mix this with this. And this is a bunch of mulch in the form of leaves and wood chips. And this is straw. And so I take these 2 things, I mix them together. If you guys go to any one of my trees, anywhere in my yard, you'll see I have 2 to 3 foot of this
Yeah.
around my entire property.
And then what
ecosystem.
happens very quickly, it starts breaking down, and the roots from the tree, the feeder roots, will come up into it. You've seen that, haven't you?
Oh, totally.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And because there's so much oxygen that is still allowed to permeate through that
Yeah.
into the tree's feeder roots. That's the secret also to lowering your water bill and keeping the tree's roots wet.
Big time. And I'll tell you what, here's a tip. Plant a minimum of 6 inches of this around the tree.
A minimum.
I've been telling people this for years, and then people will say, my trees aren't doing well, and it's like, send me a picture. And they send me a picture, and they put an inch of wood chips around it.
And then once the hole stops, there's nothing.
And once the hole stops, it's nothing.
I've gone
So-
beyond the hole here.
Your whole yard, maybe. But at least a 6 foot, 6 foot diameter around the tree.
Sure.
With 6 inches of wood chips.
At least. And then
At least.
add to it 3 times a year.
Then add to it 3 times a year.
When spring happens, add to it in the spring. When summer happens, summer. When fall happens, fall. And do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And we'll also have a mix of this wood chip stuff available at the pop-up tree nursery.
A great Peterson approved, like a mulching mix.
Yep, exactly.
That's great. So if somebody
Exactly.
doesn't want to have a whole truck bed, can get a bagged form from you.
Exactly. So we'll have most of these. We won't have the sand, but we'll have the rest of these available at the pop-up nursery.
Now your pop-up nursery though is not available year-round.
No, it's not.
It's just during like gardening intensive times.
Right. January, February, and March is when
Okay.
we're open, and that's when you plant your fruit trees
And you're not shipping it to be in the Phoenix area,
in the Phoenix area.
or like Scottsdale, Tempe, Chandler, anywhere in
The
Phoenix.
Valley, I call it the Valley of the Sun. You
Yeah.
know what? Honestly, though, we get people coming from Tucson,
Okay.
This is even better. I got people coming from Las Vegas to get stuff from us.
Mm-hmm.
So people come in, but if you order trees from us, you got to come here to get it.
And you do a lot of fruit trees, but a lot of deciduous and citrus
Yes.
type fruit trees.
Yeah,
You also
exactly.
have like raspberries, and you have grapes and
Right.
blackberries and things like that.
All that stuff.
And
Absolutely.
a couple other cool, just new, like new stuff every year.
Right.
So
I'm always looking for new stuff. And then if you're not in the Phoenix area and you want to get the Mace mix, jakemace.com.
and we'll
'Cause
ship
you'll
it to you
them.
for a low
Yeah,
fee.
You'll ship it to them.
And I love these smaller bags because gardeners can try it for only like $17.
Yeah.
They can get this, and they can do 5 or 6 trees and some garden, and they can see if it works for them.
Right.
It's going to work, I'm telling you.
It is going to work.
Let me tell you guys an
Absolutely.
example. When I first met
Please.
you,
Yeah.
you told me when you're planting fruit trees to use a lot of mulch.
A lot of
and
mulch.
wood chips.
Yep.
And I didn't listen to you because I really was kind of like just an ignorant, stubborn gardener who thought, if I just put a fruit tree in the ground, it'll be fine because I'm special. I'm not special.
You
and
are special, but
No, I'm not.
that's not going to work.
I killed a lot of fruit trees that way.
Yeah, don't do that.
And when I finally started using the mulch, the health of the trees just was evident.
Yeah.
You can see it in the fruit
Absolutely.
and the quality of the leaves
Yeah.
in the spring, summer, and fall.
Right.
Let me show you guys a close-up one more time. We've got the native soil. We've got the biodynamic active living compost. We've got the worm castings, the sand, either regular sand or lava sand. We've got the rock dust minerals. Azomite's a good brand. We've got the mycorrhiza or Mycelium, beneficial bacteria. We've got the wood chips. This is a combination of leaves and wood chips. And we've got the straw. And all these things together are my quote unquote magic or secrets that makes a fruit tree happy.
Yeah. And they make them really happy.
Greg, thank you for these. I love these Farm Out Friday segments.
Yeah, me too, man.
Folks
Good
can
job.
find all of our Farm Out Friday links to all of our Farm Out Friday videos down in the description and the comments below. And if people want to find out more about you, where do they go?
Urbanfarm.org.
And me, you can go to jakemace.com or Jake Mace Tai Chi on Instagram and Snapchat, or my Urban Gardening in Arizona Facebook group.